Today, we are pulling back the curtain on a crime that happens deep in the shadows of the global economy. We're talking about a massive trillion-dollar industry that fuels some of the world's most dangerous activities, money laundering.
So, you've seen it in the movies 100 times, right? The suitcase just overflowing with cash. But have you ever really stopped to think about what happens next? What do criminals actually do with all that money without getting caught?
And yeah, let's just get this out of the way right now. Despite the name, this has absolutely nothing to do with laundry detergent or a spin cycle. The reality is, well, it's a lot more clever and, frankly, a lot more damaging.
Okay, let's dive right in. To really get what money laundering is all about, you first have to understand the huge problem that every successful criminal eventually runs into.
Here's the official definition from the U.S. government's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN for short. Put simply, it's all about making dirty money, money from crime, look like it came from a totally clean, legitimate source.
Let's just break this down. Picture this. You're a criminal, and you've got $1 million in cash. You can't just stroll into a bank and deposit it. An amount that big sets off all sorts of alarms. The bank has to report it, and next thing you know, you've got investigators asking questions you definitely do not want to answer. So you're stuck.
So, what's the solution? You create a cover story, your very own washing machine. And the perfect front is a business that handles a ton of cash, something like a restaurant or maybe a car wash. It doesn't even have to be that successful because its real job isn't selling food, it's cleaning your dirty money. Now, this whole process isn't just random. Financial experts have actually broken it down into a pretty formal, three-step cycle. The goal here is simple. It's all about creating a convincing illusion. So, as you can see, it's a three-phase cycle. It all starts with placement. That's step one, physically getting the dirty cash into the financial system. So think back to our restaurant. You take your illegal cash, mix it in with the real cash from customers, and deposit it all together as the restaurant's daily earnings. To the bank, it just looks like you had a really busy night. Then comes step two, layering. Now this is where it gets really clever. The goal is to create a super confusing paper trail. You start moving the money around through all these complex transactions, bouncing it between different accounts, countries, buying and selling assets. You make it almost impossible for anyone to trace it back to where it really came from. And finally, you've got integration. The now clean money comes back to you. Maybe it's a legit-looking salary from your restaurant or a dividend payment. It's in your bank account, ready to be spent, and on paper, it looks completely legitimate.
Okay, so we've seen how it's done. Now let's zoom out, because we need to talk about the truly mind-boggling scale of this problem all over the world.
So what are we really talking about in terms of cold, hard cash? How much money are we talking about being laundered across the entire planet every single year? Well, according to the United Nations, the estimated amount is somewhere between $800 billion and, get this, $2 trillion every single year. That's a number so huge, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
And this slide right here helps put that into perspective. That $2 trillion could be as much as 5% of the world's entire GDP. Think about that for a second. For every $20 made in the global economy, one of them might just be dirty money being cleaned.
And this is why it's so important. This is not some victimless crime happening in a vacuum. It's not abstract at all. It means that the profits from some local drug operation could end up funding an international arms deal, or even a terrorist plot on the other side of the world. The connection is direct, and it's devastating. This money provides the fuel for criminal organizations to grow, and it just eats away at our trust in our financial systems.
But the old-school cash-based methods we've been talking about, that's just the beginning. The game has totally changed with technology, creating a whole new digital frontier for this kind of crime. Just look at this comparison. On one hand, you had traditional laundering. It was all about moving physical cash. It was tangible, but it was also relatively slow. Electronic laundering, though, it's a completely different animal. It uses the speed of the internet, online banking, shell companies that are nothing but websites, and especially cryptocurrencies to zip money between dozens of digital wallets all across the globe in seconds. The trail can go cold almost instantly. And here's the fundamental challenge for law enforcement. As Investopedia points out, the laws designed to stop this stuff, what they call anti-money laundering or AML laws, were built for a world of brick-and-mortar banks and paper trails. They are really struggling to keep up with the sheer speed and anonymity of cybercrime. But that doesn't mean governments and international groups are just standing by and watching this happen. There's been a long, constantly evolving battle to fight back against this criminal wash cycle.
In the US alone, this fight has been ramping up for decades. It really kicked off in 1970 with the Bank Secrecy Act, which is what forced banks to start reporting those big cash transactions we talked about. Then, in 1986, the act of money laundering itself was finally made a federal crime. And of course, after 9/11, the Patriot Act dramatically expanded all these efforts to cut off terrorist financing.
And this is hardly just a U.S. thing. Since 1989, the global fight has been coordinated by the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF. It's basically an international body whose entire job is to set the standards and promote effective ways to combat money laundering and terrorist financing worldwide.
Which really brings us to our final lingering question. The methods criminals use are evolving at lightning speed. Money is now digital, it's borderless, and a lot of the time it's anonymous. And so the real question for the future is, in this high-speed digital race, can the laws and can the global watchdogs possibly keep up?